Ever heard that every sperm carries a prepackaged mini-human ready to unfold like biological origami? Welcome to the charmingly bizarre world of the homunculus theory. In the 17th century, a group of earnest gentlemen with primitive microscopes peered into the secret life of fertilization and exclaimed, "Aha! Sperm are basically teacup-sized humans just waiting for their debut." Apparently, in the 1600s, folks actually believed every man was lugging around a million literal mini-me's. Talk about an ego boost, or depending on your mood, a full-blown existential crisis. But before you chuckle too hard, remember, microscopes were the cutting-edge tech of their day. When scientists glimpsed those wriggly swimmers, their imaginations sprinted way ahead of their reasoning. Out popped the homunculus, a theory claiming every sperm head contained a curled-up, microscopic human, like a tiny passenger eagerly waiting for the next egg Uber. If only it were true, Father's Day cards would flood in after every sneeze. The debates got heated. Spermists insisted Dad carried the shrunken citizen, while ovists championed Mom's egg as the original nesting doll. Pick your fighter! Spoiler alert, both sides lost. Enter modern science, strict as a middle school chaperone, who crashed the party. Turns out neither sperm nor egg hides a tiny stowaway. They simply bring half the genetic recipe to the fertilization potluck, then team up to whip up a brand new person. No itty-bitty dude waving a "help get me out of here" sign necessary. So next time you crack open a health textbook, don't expect Harry Potter-style shrunken humans. The homunculus theory makes a delightful bedtime story for wizardry class. But fertilization? Much less magical, and thankfully, much less crowded. While the homunculus theory imagined tiny humans in sperm, others proposed that traits simply blend together from parents. Ever wish you could mash together Mom's culinary wizardry with Dad's superpower of napping anywhere, anytime? Sorry to burst your smoothie bowl dreams. Genetics isn't a build-your-own-talent bar. If it were, we'd all be strolling around as walking, talking beige rainbows by now. No more family reunions where great-aunt's nose leaps a generation just to pop up on some unsuspecting cousin. There's a persistent myth that kids are an exact 50-50 cocktail of their parents' looks, as if DNA were some magical paint mixer. Nope. Not purple just because Mom is red and Dad is blue. Gregor Mendel, the OG Peapod prophet of inheritance, showed traits don't swirl like watercolors. They follow stubborn rules. Eye color, for example, likes to play peekaboo, with dominant genes hogging the spotlight while recessive ones hide out backstage. So no, you won't get a kid whose mom's quick wit and dad's killer dance moves fused into one party animal. Genetics is less Frappuccino, more IKEA furniture. Complicated, with some pieces destined never to click no matter how hard you stare at the instructions. But hey, variety's the spice of life. Some traits, like height or skin tone, fall into the polygenic lottery, blending dozens of genes like a wild game show where DNA takes wild guesses, then tosses in environmental plot twists and a dash of random mutations just for flavor. The result? Every child is a 1 in a million genetic cocktail. So cherish your quirky inheritance. No one else on Earth will ever be assembled quite like you, no matter how many family recipes or naps you score. Moving beyond blending, some believed offspring inherit traits their parents acquired during life. Imagine if learning piano meant your kids came out of the womb humming Beethoven, tapping Fur-Elise, before they'd even mastered the alphabet song. If that were true, every librarian's kid would be clutching a Dewey Decimal Manual at birth, and my own offspring would have arrived flexing abs, courtesy of my mighty, albeit brief, 2011 flirtation with sit-ups. Enter the myth, the idea that what you achieve in life, bulging biceps, Mandarin fluency, or, heaven help us, a taste for Brussels sprouts, gets directly bundled into your kid's starter pack. This charming fable wasn't dreamt up by modern gym rats hoping for muscular babies, but by 19th century evolutionary thinker Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. Lamarck believed giraffes grew long necks because their ancestors stretched for higher leaves, passing that extra neck length straight down, as if biology worked like hand-me-downs. It's a lovely thought, and would be pretty convenient. Parents could calibrate their kids simply by reading Shakespeare, eating kale, or perfecting their golf swing. But no such luck. Acquired skills, like my fleeting chess obsession, which, shockingly, failed to produce toddlers demanding to be called grandmaster, Don't rewrite our genetic scripts. What really passes down are genes, snippets of DNA, not trophies, gym memberships, or piano playlists. Only changes in DNA, those rare, precious mutations, earn a seat on the next generation's ride. So despite your six-pack efforts, those abs remain as much a fleeting rumor as my daydreams of a human metronome. Modern genetics, the science of heredity, concurs. Skills and knowledge aren't stitched onto our genes. They're learned, not inherited. And that's good news for natural selection, the engine of evolution, where genetic quirks, not acquired ones, steer the future. Sorry, Lamarck. Better luck stretching next time. To explain acquired traits, the theory of pangenesis suggested magical messengers called gemmules carry these traits. Imagine your traits riding tiny postal pigeons from cell to cell. No Hogwarts letter required, but plenty of biological fanfare. Back in Darwin's day, folks bought into the magical mailmen of inheritance called gemmules. Picture them as microscopic couriers stuffed with your quirks. Dad's laugh, mom's chin, grandma's suspiciously precise eyebrow wiggle. These mysterious particles supposedly fluttered from every nook and cranny of your body, swarming into your reproductive cells, ready to deliver a full family photo to the next generation. So why did Darwin cook up gemmules? Poor chap was stuck with the blending inheritance headache, a theory claiming traits just mixed like paints, turning each generation into ever duller, beige blobs. With no better idea, Darwin unleashed gemmules, invisible, untraceable, and frankly, about as dependable as a carrier pigeon hopped up on espresso. Scientists hunted for gemmules with all the zest of a treasure quest, but these pixie-like particles left no clues, no paper trail, not even with a magnifying glass strapped to a microscope. And let's be honest, if gemmules were real, I'd blame them for inheriting Dad's dance moves, but at least my regrettable tattoos wouldn't be popping up in future family members. Why don't we pass on our bad ink choices? Hint, gemmules are as legit as unicorns. The party finally crashed when Mendel showed up, gene peas in hand, and genetics kicked gemmules to the curb. But here's the kicker. Though gemmules were a scientific dead end, their legendary flop actually nudged researchers toward better ideas, proving that even nonsense can help climb the ladder of science. Now meet the real VIPS genes. Contrasting these theories, some thought everything starts fully formed inside the egg, not developing from scratch. Once upon a time, humans believed we all began life as tiny, fully formed mini-people tucked inside our parents. Yes, people actually thought each of us started as a fun-sized, pocket-sized human cozying up inside an egg or sperm. Welcome to the world of preformation, where evolution wasn't about building a human, but about cracking open a stack of biological Russian nesting dolls. Spoiler alert. Nope, you weren't your great-great-grandpa's carry-on luggage. Early scientists got clever. Some insisted sperm carried microscopic homunculi, tiny men with every head, toe, and even pinky nail perfectly in place. Just add water. Others championed the egg, arguing it housed the tiniest infants, ready to unfold like the world's squishiest origami. If preformation were real, family reunions would be more like X-rays. Mom, I can see Grandpa waving from your pancreas. But as microscopes sharpened, reality hit hard. Embryos weren't hiding mini-humans backstage. They grew from vague blobs into recognizable babies, bit by bit. Enter epigenesis, the concept that life assembles itself gradually, with no cosmic IKEA manual, just a lot of improvisation and cell division. Thanks to modern genetics and cell biology, it's official. No mothballed mini-me's stashed behind your spleen. Life builds up from blueprints, proteins, and sheer determination. So next time a baby arrives, thank DNA, not a prepackaged ancestor. And remember, if you're feeling small, at least you're not literally a shrink-wrapped family tree waiting to pop. However, others recognized heredity's complexity, doubting simple mathematics could explain it all. Hook. Your family tree isn't a tidy diagram, it's a wild, tangled shrubbery, an overgrown web stitched together by centuries of romance, rebellion, and regrettable haircuts. Trying to trace your lineage? Buckle up for more plot twists than a telenovela and zero commercial breaks. Myth. Pop culture loves those neat Mendelian Punnett squares, as if genetics is just about picking A or B like it's a casino game. If only predicting your kid's quirks were as simple as guessing the family dog's fur color. Spoiler, it's never that neat. Facts. Sure, Gregor Mendel and his peas got the hereditary party started, but they didn't exactly prepare us for the full-on genetic circus in humans. Actual inheritance? A raucous mix of dozens, scratch that, hundreds of genes, epigenetic pranks, gene-environment soap operas, and surprise mutations crashing the family reunion. Your mother's eyes? Possible. Your father's talent for losing car keys? You're stuck with that too. Punch. The traits that really matter, height, smarts, or your stance on pineapple pizza, aren't dictated by just one or two genes playing nice. They're polygenic, meaning a whole gene squad meddles with the recipe, occasionally swapping salt for sugar. Picture assembling IKEA furniture. Too many screws, zero instructions, and one mysterious piece you're pretty sure wasn't in the box. Bridge. Just when you think you've charted the chaos, epigenetics sachets in. Grandma's smoking habit or your great-uncle's veggie aversion? They can tweak gene expression for generations. Meanwhile, genetic recombination remixes your DNA at every handoff. Think playlist shuffle, except sometimes it's country meets death metal. Predicting heredity? Like forecasting weather a month out. Carry an umbrella, and maybe some ibuprofen. Amid misunderstandings about heredity, wild hopes of animal-human hybrids nevertheless flourished. Ever wonder if goats with human faces might finally deliver decent customer service? Maybe they'd at least chew thoughtfully before refusing to escalate your call. Ancient myths were all about these animal-human mashups, centaurs galloping around with chronic back pain, mermaids causing maritime chaos, and that riddle-crazed sphinx making everyone late for work. If Netflix had existed, half the blockbuster cast would have had hooves. Fast forward a few millennia. Science, now armed with more CRISPR and less ancient Greek wine, has dabbled with hybrids too, but mostly as cells wed in tiny petri dishes, not roaming our stables or suburban malls. Today's public loves imagining sassy chimeras who can talk, reason, or at least write their own passive-aggressive Yelp reviews. 2 stars, no salt, lick. Staff seemed rattled by my tale. And let's be honest, if animal-human hybrids really existed, someone would have named one Karen by now. But the tough truth? Ethical and legal roadblocks make crafting a minotaur harder than finding good Wi-Fi in a dungeon. Scientists aren't piecing together sheepmen in the break room. They're fine-tuning cellular blends, not drafting Dr. Moreau's fantasy football team. Even successful mixes hit monstrous biological snags. Turns out most cells just don't want to play nice across species. In reality, the biggest breakthrough is pig hearts with human genes, not pigs demanding stock options. Still waiting on that reliable werewolf. But so far, all we've got are hairless cats and dogs with Instagram followings. The only centaurs you'll find at the mall are folks in badly cut horse costumes, and even they won't help you with a return. Sadly, such hopes were often supported only by whimsical drawings and untested theories taken as evidence. Imagine a courtroom where the chief evidence against the accused is a doodle. Yes, a stick figure wearing a pointy hat, astride a broomstick. No DNA, no eyewitnesses, just a napkin sketch of someone cackling over a cauldron. There she is, Your Honor, the blueprint of black magic. If only courtroom sketches qualified as tax deductions for emotional distress. Back in the heyday of witch trials, actual proof took a permanent coffee break, replaced by wild speculation and questionable art skills. People earnestly believed that a suspicious cat, or a devilish creature, crudely scrawled, was airtight evidence of witchcraft. Never mind that the artist's entire portfolio consisted of chicken scratches and stick dogs. If it looked spooky enough, the accused was toast. The real kicker? Confessions wrung out under torture were illustrated, then published and archived as gospel truth. No one paused to check if the courtroom artist had actually met a witch, or just inhaled one too many turpentine fumes. It's the 17th century equivalent of convicting someone today because their social media avatar looked shady. Turns out, being good at Pictionary was a hazardous talent back then. This fanciful approach to justice meant sensational evidence grabbed more headlines than facts. Neighbors sealed each other's fates by doodling frogs with fangs or cats with wings. Don't like Mrs. Butterworth? Just accuse her of consorting with a flying gerbil. You've got a ready-made conviction. Such absurdity let fantasy outrun reality, ruining lives and leaving behind an art scene best left in the dustbin of history. Maybe the real witchcraft was how easily imagination outcast justice.